Community updates. As of this morning, we have 19,944 folks. I'm very confident that we'll hit 2,000 by the end of the year. So that's a very exciting milestone. Reminder that we have office hours on Tuesdays. Also a couple of collaboration channels. So if you're looking for ways to contribute, or if you want to show off something that you've done, please head over to our contributor show and tell channels. And then we're also rolling out, this is based off of some community feedback that folks are looking for some channels to kind of just have like best practices conversations, or maybe share advice or kind of learnings there. So I've created 2 new channels, one for advice for data governance, and then one for advice for metadata modeling, and we'll see how it goes. So feel free to hop in there, also post and announce that those are open and ready for you. Also very exciting news, Shirshanka and I are going to be speaking at Data Council in Austin in January. We're going to be giving a guide to data discovery for data practitioners. So if you're going to Data Council, or if you're in the Austin area, please let me know. I'd love to safely COVID-wise meet up and hear about what you're doing with DataHub. For those of you who were at our October town hall, this is the roadmap that we shared for the quarter. I'm not going to get in. I just wanted to show you this as a reminder. This will be really great context for what Shirshanka is about to walk through. But one thing I did want to call out that's super exciting. We've had a lot of really great contributions and conversations happening in the Tableau channel. And so we're kind of rallying the community around that and hoping to have a first pass of a Tableau integration within the next maybe 2-3 weeks or so. So super exciting there. We're also seeing some momentum on ClickHouse. So again, kind of call for community support on those ones. If you are interested in helping with design or implementation, please feel free to reach out to me. And now Shirshanka will pass it over to you.
Cool. So this is the most favorite part of the presentation for me, because I get to talk about all the amazing stuff that has happened in the last month. We had 2 releases, 08, 18 and 19. 19 was really a small bug fix release. And, you know, as usual, there's a bunch of this log4j stuff going on. So there might be actually another one next week. We are setting up for a bi-weekly release cadence for the server. And as you know, the PyPy client typically goes on a 4 version number cadence. So we align the client release with the server release with a .0, and then the client, as ingestion bug fixes or small things come in, we release the client ahead of the server. So 08, 18 and 19 are both out. As usual, commit rate looks amazing, 100 plus, actually way above 100 plus. And also a really healthy diversity of committers from multiple companies, as well as overall size. Super excited. This was a big month for ingestion connectors. So, you know, NiFi, Mode, Metabase, these were all big things that the community had asked for many months now. And I'm so glad that we are able to release it. So please try it out and let us know how it goes. Lots of new contributors as well. So welcome to the community. There's also been small improvements to dbt, Snowflake, and BigQuery, and a few others. Big improvements to Redshift Lineage. So thanks, Tamash, for that feature. It just comes out of the box right now. All you need to do is just include table lineage, and you get your Redshift lineage metadata. So this is dataset to dataset within Redshift, as well as S3 to Redshift for the loads that are happening into Redshift. Another big update as part of that release was metadata service auth, another common request. So now John demoed it last time. You know, you can go into the UI, provision a personal access token for yourself, and then use that to make API calls. And GMS, the metadata service, now supports token-based authentication as well. And then finally, that amazing demo from last time, which kind of finally worked, is live. We have no-code UI with aspects, so you can extend your aspects, extend your metadata model with aspects, give them nice little annotations, and then see them in the UI without writing a single line of code. Super excited. I think Sarah from the community has already tried it out, so I'm really excited to see what all you'll do with it. And we're continuing to move the no-code movement forward. Next year, we'll be rolling out support for entities and other kinds of display elements as well. Back to the actual people who are making all this happen. So lots of good contributions from, Frederick, Enrico, Thomas Larson. I missed you, but that vulnerability fix is super important. Tamash, Mayuri, Sergio, Eric, Luis, and Hyun, who's been giving us really good PRs on improving the BigQuery audit log support. And of course, the community has been kicking, the proverbial behind really well. Excel, Asim, Ajay, Zach, Seraph, Dan, Pramod, Martin, Chris, and Ed. Really great conversations. And thanks to Maggie for facilitating everything. But, it's the community that makes it what it is. So thanks a lot. And let's keep the conversations going. I'll dive right into some things that I'm super excited about on the next slide. The first is Spark Lineage. Again, another very important feature. It's a push-based integration, the kind of integrations we really love. It's been a long time coming. Essentially, you get the jar, drop it into your Spark application, and the Spark application is going to emit Lineage metadata every time it runs. So this includes kind of the pipeline def, the job within it, and then data sets in and out from the job. Try it out. It's our first release. It also flushed out some of the intricacies in publishing jars and things like that. So you'll start to see more jars showing up that you can actually depend on, like the metadata model itself and the Java emitter library and things like that. Few caveats: support for Spark 3.x is coming. And we haven't tested this on Databricks yet, but I know people in the community are already trying it out. So hopefully we'll get that working. Spark jobs, any kind of Spark submit, notebooks, all of that works. It sends the metadata change event over HTTP to the DataHub server, and we'll release a support for emitting over Kafka as well. So that's the Spark Lineage update. Try it out. Docs are here. This is now available. You don't have to wait for anything. Next up is another highly requested feature, stale metadata deletion. So as you know, when you run ingestion, it connects up to the source, finds all the tables, finds all the schemas, connects it up back into DataHub. And the next time when you run it again, it essentially does the same thing. And the problem with that is maybe a few tables got dropped and the ingestion system does not know about it. So that table that you ingested the last time continues living on forever. In some cases, that is a good thing, but in most cases, people are like, why is this table still here? I want it gone. So enter stateful ingestion. We actually did a demo of it a couple of months ago. It's finally in the product and in the ingestion system. And on top of that, we've implemented stale metadata deletion. This is an opt-in feature. Go try it out. All SQL sources are supported, and Snowflake usage is also supported. What that means is Snowflake usage will remember what dates it scanned the last time and make incremental progress every time you run it. So you don't have to fiddle around with the start and end dates. You don't have to give it any config at all. It's going to run store state actually on DataHub. We like reusing DataHub for all metadata storage if you haven't figured that out by now. So we store state about all the tables that were ingested in DataHub as a time series aspect. Then the next time the source runs, it compares the previous state, looks at the new state that it got, does a diff, figures out which data sets are no longer present, and issues soft deletes for them. Soft deletes because you might have documentation and other things that people have written about these tables. And so if those tables are rediscovered in the future, you don't lose any of that metadata, that important metadata. It will be available in 08.19.2. I haven't cut the release yet. So this is the pip package. And the server needs to be 08.20 and above. The client actually checks for it, so you don't have to worry about it. And you can start trying it out with the quick start images right after the town hall. So I'm super excited about this one. All right, next is DBT. So DBT, as you very well know, is an amazing piece of technology. Lots of people are using it. And it's got this interesting thing about metadata. So DBT allows you to add metadata to your models, to your views, to your tables. And the way you do that is by just adding a little meta section in your model definition. So, people have invented their own ways of creating metadata and attaching that to their DBT models. For example, there's one company in the community that does something like this. They have a meta section, and in there they put the business owner, the team owner, data classification, data lifecycle, et cetera, et cetera. And what we are rolling out is the ability for you to map these meta elements into DataHub concepts. So for example, you can go into your DBT source config and add this additional meta mapping section. And you can essentially provide matching rules to the properties in the DBT meta section. Obviously, the DBT meta section is kind of free form. So you have to provide matching rules like, hey, data governance business owner, match on everything and do an add owner on it. Data governance team owner, do the same thing, but the owner type has to be a group. You can add terms like glossary terms. So you can say things like, if data governance.data classification is public, then add this term, classification.public, et cetera, et cetera. So you can kind of add tags, add terms, add owners, and kind of map the base meta elements into modeled elements on the DataHub side. Again, I'm very excited about this. It has been actually a very common request from both the open source community as well as Acryl's customers. So I'm really excited to get it out for everyone. And this is what it looks like once you actually set this up. You will essentially get these particular elements mapped into like your tags, your glossary terms, as well as ownership. So this means you don't have to keep, looking into the property bag to figure out what's going on with your DBT meta. And you can kind of have a nice mapping system between your DBT meta, language, or vocabulary into the DataHub space. Coming in 8:20. All right. Next thing, we'll get our noob, Aditya, to talk about what he's been working on for data freshness indicator and give a quick sneak preview of what's coming in the next release.
Hey everyone, I'm Aditya, nice to meet you. Shirshanka talked about one thing that we're excited about is adding an indicator on the UI of how fresh a data is. So, as you can see from the screenshot, you can check when a data set was last updated. We actually want to make this a time series in the future so that at different points in time, you can tell when a data set was updated. And eventually, probably at the beginning of January, we're hoping to include other metadata about when those changes were issued, as well as who issued them, what kind of type of change was it, how many rows were affected, that sort of thing. The initial support is just going to be for the data warehouse sources, so BigQuery, Redshift, and Snowflake, but we're hoping to extend this more broadly in the future.